Hello and welcome to Prairie Pulse. Coming up a little bit later in the show, we'll hear from Raina Del Cid. But first, joining me now from Lakota, North Dakota, artist Nelda Schrupp. Nelda, thanks so much for joining us today.
Oh, you're welcome.
Well, as we get started, tell the folks a little bit about yourself, your background, where you're originally from.
Yeah, I was born and raised on White Bear Indian Reservation in southern Saskatchewan. And when I was 17, I moved to the U.S. and eventually I met and married my husband at Forbes Air Force Base in Kansas. Then we moved up here and I went back to school, and this is the result of my education.
Well, let's start about this. Obviously, what got you interested in art and jewelry?
Well, I was going to be a biologist at UND, and I just couldn't handle the statistics and numbers. I turn things around. And I took an art class just to see how talented I was, because I never pursued it in this fashion before. I have a Bachelor of Fine Arts in Ceramics with a minor in metals. And then I went upstairs and I talked to the instructor in metals, and she took me on as a master's student after I graduated with my bachelor's, and the rest is history.
Well, now you say that, so you have a master's in jewelry making. What's
It's metalwork.
Metalwork.
Metalwork, and that includes sculpture. I even took a class in welding, which I wasn't very good at, but I still had to experience it to see what it was like. And the different processes in metal, like casting. I did miniature sculpture. I've always told myself, if you can't lift it, you can't make it.
Well, that's one way to look at things. But now, I understand a couple of your pieces are in museums at the Smithsonian Museum of Art in Washington, and then in the Peabody Essex Museum in Massachusetts, and maybe even a third one.
Yeah, the National Museum of the American Indian. They just received their piece. I don't know how long they're going to take to process it, but it takes quite a while. Anything coming into the museum gets flash frozen for a week to kill all whatever organisms that it's bringing into the collection, and they can't take any chances. So it takes a while to process each piece that is for the permanent collection.
Now, how did that come about? Did they approach you? Did you offer the pieces? Or
You contact, or they contact you, the acquisition committee. And then it took, at least nine months to go through the process of forms and photographs and conversations on the phone. And then a great big semi comes up, and it's amazing how big the semi is. And they wrap it up for you and take it.
So how does that make you feel? It has to be an honor to have something like that done.
I do really feel honored. I feel really special because not too many people get their works accepted into these prestigious museums. And the Peabody, they came to my booth in Santa Fe Indian Market. That's the oldest Indian market in the U.S. It's been going on since the early 1900s.
Okay. Well, as people can see, you brought some pieces with us. Can you tell us about those and talk about it?
This one here is a decorative dance rattle. I put a loop on top so that it could be held. And then this is very contemporary, very modern designs. I don't do the traditional pieces, and usually the traditional pieces are made out of rawhide or turtle shell. This one here has thimbles and hawk bells and horsehair and bone beads. Those are very, very traditional items. The hawk bells and thimbles were used since fur trader days as decorative elements on their dance regalia. And the little cowrie shells were from our very expansive trade system from the coastal tribes onto the plains, and eventually to each tribe that was trading up and down the plains. And the sterling silver I get from different distributors. Rio Grande out of Albuquerque is my main place I get my silver. The design work, I really enjoy doing the design. Uh, uh, as you can tell, this piece, if you just look at the top portion, there's no stones, there's no facets, there's no cabochons. The metal work is basically what I do, where I excel in. The stones that I use are usually just as a highlight here and there, except for some whimsical pieces I do make. I go from serious to whimsical, back to serious, and I do some storytelling pieces as well. That's what the National Museum of the American Indian has, and so does the Peabody. So.
Well, are any other pieces you want to show us today? or
Okay,
talk
here's a
about?
whimsical piece. It's a little face with horsehair, and he's got a little miniature mohawk on the side, and it's got little googly eyes, and it has a little rattle on the inside. The majority of all my work is rattles. This one has natural colored horsehair, yellow citrine beads, and argentium silver, which has been textured in one of my processes.
Okay. Now, when you first started out, I understand you sort of, it was trial and error, and but then you sort of found your niche, and maybe with the rattle pieces or whatever. Can you talk about that?
Well, my grad committee, when I was in college, every semester you'd have a meeting with your grad committee, and the first couple meetings, you know, I was kind of afraid of being ejected from the grad program. So I did research and research and research. And then I came upon the rattle form, and I thought, I can't make that traditional. That's just kind of like a repeat of designs. But then I worked with it, and then I seen more artwork, more modern art. And then I thought, okay, I can work with the rattle form. And I took the rattle and made it my own design with very contemporary, very modern material, but yet keeping that thread of tradition in my work. I wasn't overstepping any bounds or stepping on anybody's toes by doing that, because traditional culture, you know, there are certain things that's women's art and certain things that's men's art, and rattle making is a men's process. And ladies, that wasn't their art form. But I took it and I made it my own style, I made it my own process. Like when I created my work, you know, I would take very simple forms like the square and the circle and geometric forms of different shapes. And I'd cut them down and make them and in a process of construct. I'd make the piece, deconstruct. I would cut them apart, like in this piece is very much cut apart, and then I'd use the cutout pieces and recreate other images from it. And this one here is argentium silver and garnets, red garnets. This is very, very contemporary, but it still has a rattle form in it.
Okay.
And red, I use a lot of red and I use a lot of yellow, because in my culture, red and yellow represents power, both physical and spiritual power. So this is two of our very sacred colors.
Well, when you start out, you're going to design a piece. Do you have something in your head? Do you draw it out, or do you just start working with it?
Well, I usually start out with a thumbnail sketch, and usually the piece that I'm working on doesn't look like the thumbnail sketch that I started out with, because many, many times the piece takes on a life of its own, and I just kind of follow it.
Okay.
You know, and then it comes out whatever it ends up to be, you know.
Well,
So,
what kind of reaction do you get from the pieces that you make?
I have never seen this kind of work before, and then you know, I have to do a mini education moment, you know, for the people, you know, and I've told them, you know, no matter what culture, ancient culture, modern culture, there is always noisemakers. Back in the old days, there were just 2 sticks. Nowadays, there's baby rattles, there's all these sophisticated music instruments, you know, and I'm in there midway someplace with my work.
Well, how many pieces do you make? I don't know if you do it by a week, a year, a month, or what. How many pieces do you normally make, and you know, how many do you sell a year?
I don't really count right now, but before my auto accident, I used to be very prolific, anywhere up to 20 to 30 pieces a year. Now I work until I hurt.
Okay.
And sales-wise, it's kind of like a curse to the art world, in the art world, because it's hit and miss. One week you can sell a whole bunch of art. Next week you can't give it away. You know, it's kind of the up and down. I think it's connected to the economy because we're a luxury item. And if the market is going up, then they got extra funds to invest in art. And I always tell my collectors, silver will always be worth something, and so is gold. I says, if you ever hit the bottom of the market, at least you can sell your silver or your gold.
Well, tell me about growing up in Saskatchewan, and of course, why you decided to come to the United States.
Well, in Saskatchewan, I was the youngest of 12 kids. And I went to boarding school, Catholic boarding school, and you've heard all the horror stories, and I can contest to the fact that they're true. And I came down to the U.S. When I was 17. I left boarding school, and my dad passed away at that time, and I was kind of working for my sister up in Calgary, Alberta. I was babysitting for her, and then I went to another sister in Rapid City, and just kind of worked and moved and worked and moved until I met and married my husband, and moved to North Dakota, and started to go back to school, and you know, take life a little more serious, and got my education.
Okay, so and then of course got involved with all this beautiful artwork that you do. But why do you like working with metal?
Well, metal is a very forgiving material. You know, no matter what form it's in, it's still worth something. You know, especially silver. You know, if I mess it up, I can crumple it up. I could take it back to the distributor, and he'll give me whatever he can. Usually, I get 75% of the market from my scrap if I trade for new product, and that's the best anywhere you can get. So sometimes I make a mistake, and I embellish that mistake into a decorative element on my work, and that, you know, people don't usually take notice of an artist's mistake unless it's pointed out, and let them know how that piece, you know, that decorative element got in that certain spot.
And I understand one time, probably back in 2002, you had over $100,000 worth of your artwork stolen in a studio in Phoenix, was it?
We were staying at a hotel in Phoenix, and I was told to park my vehicle in a certain area, and we did, and we unhooked our little travel trailer we had in the back, little utility trailer, and we were there a couple extra days early, and we went back to get the competition pieces out of the trailer, and the crooks that stole and invaded our trailer, they closed the back door and set the lock. It looked like it wasn't touched. We opened it up, all the jewelry pieces were gone. They left the bigger sculptural pieces like these pieces, not particular this one, but the bigger wall pieces, and everything else was gone, all the jewelry. But I've gotten a few pieces back. I got the most expensive belt I had at the time. I got that back from a gentleman. He called me from Flagstaff. He said he found this in his father-in-law's collection. And he said he researched the internet, and he said, you're the only one that does this kind of work. And he gave me a call, and I told him what website to read, and tell him the story, and an hour later he gave me a call back. He said the piece is in the mail.
Oh my goodness.
And it kind of, well, it actually restored my faith in humanity, that there are a lot of good people out there in the world, and not to focus on the actual theft, but, you know, focus on the good people, the good folks.
Now, is this your full-time profession?
Yes, it is, because it takes me quite a while to produce one piece, and then the travel. You know, I would never be able to hold down a full-time position anywhere because I do travel a lot. In the wintertime, we travel down to the Phoenix area. We pull a big travel trailer, and I do a lot of art shows down in the Phoenix area during the winter months. That's kind of like a working vacation.
So if people want to find out more information or want to find one of your pieces, where can they go?
They could go on the internet at nelda.com, or Designs by Nelda, or nelda at polarcom.com.
Well, Nelda, thanks so much for joining us today.
Thank you.
All right. Stay tuned for more. The band, Reina del Cid, based in Minneapolis, is enjoying some much-deserved national recognition, due in part to their intelligent and simple but sophisticated sound. Reina del Cid visited our studio and entertained us with their intoxicating yet humble stage presence.
I'm Reina del Cid. I am in a folk rock band out of Minneapolis, Minnesota. So I got into music when I was about 15, and my dad bought me a guitar that we saw in an infomercial. He told me that if he got me the guitar, I'd have to take lessons for 9 months, and I did that and never looked back and started writing songs after that. So I formed the band in 2011. We've been playing out now mostly around Minneapolis, and we've been doing tours nationally. So the name Reina del Cid, El Cid was a Spanish lord in a lot of Spanish literature. And I thought if I were to name my royal blue guitar something, I would probably name it after a knight. And I thought if my guitar were a knight, then I would have to be the queen. And so Reina means queen in Spanish, so basically it's Reina del Cid is like the queen of my guitar. Medium is our sort of fast-paced party bluegrass number. I probably wrote it when I was about 16 and forgot about it for many years. Tony was kind of getting me into this bluegrass thing. She basically restructured the song, and that's the one we play when, you know, people want to get rowdy and we want to have a big dance party. That's always a really fun one for the crowd.
1, 2, 1, 2, 3, 4. He begged her to remember his face, and how the sun couldn't touch him with the ice used to lay, with the warm ice spring looked away. Now miles away from the buildings and lights, lying by his side in the dark, while the weed and the rye tell us how we used to be, where the trees put their leaves in my heart. Now this isn't me, I say it to the street and to the people I never loved. At dawn, wondering what my eyes should see, but the earth promised seasons and brought them in time to the girl who used to be me. Now this isn't me, I say it to the street and to the people I never loved. And this isn't mine, this beautiful line that's crashing through my medium. It's hard sometimes to see the difference between what's lost and what you've changed, but the colors are brighter now, and the moonlight softer on my range. Now
audience can completely change a song as we're playing it. Just the reaction that you can get, the energy in the room, the looks on people's faces can completely change the way that we perform and the way, and even the meaning of the song. So that's something I've always really enjoyed. Death Cab is, the name sounds scary, like we're gonna scream a heavy metal song at you, and unfortunately we don't do metal folk in this band. Death Cab is a type of mushroom. It grows in the South. I read about it in National Geographic. It's kind of a mushroom that looks like all of the normal mushrooms that you find in sautés and stuff, but it will actually kill you within 2 hours of eating it. So I thought that was a really interesting motif, interesting thing to write a song about.
The baddest news of all. It comes in mid-July, and I'm standing in my summer dress. I've got tears in my eyes. The telephone's ringing, but I don't wanna go down to the river, to that river where the death cap grows. So can I stay? Oh, please, can I stay? Just one more day. Just one more day. Well, I've been a fool. From London to Rome, and just to picking mushrooms on my way back home. And I've seen more in 10 years now than I was ever meant to see. So I'm older now, I'm older now than I can stand to be here. And please, can I stay? Oh, please, can I stay? Just one more day. Just one more day. The devil visits to collect his fee. So I've had him in for some company. And I don't know what's out there beyond all of this. So I cling to my mind and the green on the vine, if that's all that there is. And please, can I stay? Oh, please, can I stay? Just one more day. Just one more day. Or am I out of line? 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 Am I out of time?
Well, that's all we have on Prairie Pulse for this week. And as always, thanks for watching.
Funding for Minnesota Legacy programs are provided by a grant from the Minnesota Arts and Cultural Heritage Fund, with money from the vote of the people of Minnesota on November 4th, 2008, and by the members of Prairie Public.